As the lead pastor of Renovation Church, from the beginning, from the very beginning, at our core has been this desire to be transcultural. And even though that word sounds strange, we chose it on purpose because we wanted to connote the idea of a community, of an environment, of a culture that superseded our individualities while holding them as precious as they reflect the grace and glory of God. And so when I hear words like multicultural, I still hear division. Because there's this idea of all of these different types of people being stuck together in this environment and willingly being next to each other, but still being described as individual parts. But when I hear the word transcultural, what I teach our people is this idea of tapestry. And if you know art or you know basic knitting or something of that nature, then you know that the idea of a tapestry is many different pieces that are woven together to make the whole. The whole is far more beautiful than the individual pieces, but the individual pieces nonetheless keep their beautiful distinction as they're a part of that tapestry. And we think that this is not only an ethic of the gospel, but we think this is the narrative of scriptures, of the scriptures. When you see, even in the Old Testament, where there was a place made for the stranger and the alien if they feared God. God's continual statements about the non-Jews who would come to him in the end when Messiah came. Jesus' proclamation that he has a people that his own people don't even understand or know yet. Paul's assertion that he has to go to those who are not of the house of Abraham. And then the beautiful picture in Revelation 7 and Revelation 9, where you see these people from every tribe and every tongue and every nation gathered around the throne of God. And it wasn't even until a couple of years ago that I realized, or at least inferred, for John to understand that there was every tribe and every tongue and every language and nation around the throne of God. That meant that everybody wasn't speaking the same language. Everybody spoke their own language and simultaneously understood everyone else's. And that is what a tapestry is. It is unity in diversity, a true understanding of what it means to be a unique individual and at the same time be a part of the great and sweeping work of God. And so we look at Colossians 3:11. Paul says, now therefore there is neither Greek nor Jew, slave or free, barbarian or Scythian. Christ is all and in all. Well, when you read the verses prior to that, what he's saying is that this is the ethic in the new kingdom. And so my primary demarcation is no longer Leonce, the African American. My primary demarcation is Leonce, son of God. And following that is the wonder of what it means that God made me an African-American man to live in America in the year of 2013, according to Acts 16, where he's appointed the place and the time in which I would live. And so I don't want to lose the uniqueness of who I am as an African-American man, but I want to submit it to the beauty of who I am as a man of God. And what this does most beautifully is eliminate this idea of assimilation, which is taking different peoples and boiling them down to common denominators so that they can get along, and talk about this idea of tapestry, which is taking different peoples, allowing them to keep their unique expression of who they are in Christ, and learn from one another how to celebrate those things in one another and be family despite our differences, and in fact rejoice in our differences. And so some of the practical things we've done with Renovation Church is particularly in worship. I'll just give one example. We could have a set list that goes from Fred Hammond to Hillsong to Matt Redman back to Vashawn Mitchell. Now, some of you guys won't even know who that is. I suggest you go look it up. But genre-wise, we go from gospel to contemporary. We integrate hip-hop. We do spoken word. We do poetry, and we do hymns. And it doesn't sound thrown together, and it doesn't sound stopgap, because the musicians have taken the time, even down to the key signature, to learn how these things can flow together to create a more beautiful sound. And what it's done for us and what God has done in us is produce a church that is now 45% African American, 45% white, and about 10% other. Everyone felt alienated for a while. Now no one feels alienated because every part of our DNA is expressed in every part of our church and celebrated together. That's what it means to be transcultural.